Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Jacob's Ladder. I, of course, am your host for this incredibly spooky and haunting episode. But don't worry, because the Archangel is here. That's right. If you're watching the horse races, and on this program I've talked a little bit about the horse races, you know this. We've sort of tried to predict and see if we could see the story that the Lord was spelling out for us. At first we saw Mage won the race, and it made me very upset. I actually swore, because Mage would be symbolic of the sorcery, but then we found out that National Treasure won. That's right. The last crown that was won was national independence, which has to do with our independence and our freedom and our liberty. And who do we need for that? Well, we need some friends on our side, and we just got one. That's right. The winner of the Belmont Stakes, and that's not even what this show was about. Get ready to hold your hands up high for the Archangel! Oh my goodness gracious, how excited was I to see this horse come in. Can everybody hear me okay? Is everything going well? I see you all in the live chat. We got a lot of people here, and as well, they should be. I know that the thumbnail seems a little scary, but that's okay, because I got to tell you something. We got a little bit of a story to tell. We got a lot of that little bit stuff of called hell to deal with today. A lot of hell in the news. But I got to tell you, you know who deals with that? The Archangel, that's who. Michael does battle on behalf of God's people, and guess what happens? Turns out to be pretty cool in the end. This is a good story, but there's a lot of things that are actually going on right now in the world that had me very concerned. In fact, I was so concerned that I thought this whole show was going to be a real bummer. I really did. I mean, let's just take a look at the thumbnail, huh? Let's pull this up. Hello, everybody. Hello, Denise Loves Lord, my 2 cents, Paul Berry, everybody here. And already, thank you. So many of you have hit the like button, because you know when you hit that like button, it tells YouTube to tell other people, to get them on over here for this exciting episode of us unlocking the secrets of the beast system, which will be revealed tonight on tonight's show. A lot of 666s you see in their thumbnail. Don't judge the fisherman by the bait. Isn't that right? I can't be getting upset because my thumbnails are all cool, looking like a movie. Isn't that right, Dova? Who just gave me a really cool super chat. Thank you very much. Well, you see, of course, that sign from the video game Diablo, which I got to tell you, some people are up in arms about Diablo because KFC did like a sponsorship with them. You know, you eat some of their chicken and, you know, you're making a deal with the devil or something. I don't know. You may be in for a night of hell on the toilet, if you know what I mean. If it's the KFC near me, at least. But hey, I'm not saying where I live. Diablo partners with KFC. Okay, fried chicken. That's all right. That's all right. The whole world has been turned over to hell. The whole world has been turned over to hell. And I got to tell you something. I'm not that concerned. Let me tell you why. Not just because Archangel won and everything else. Not just because literally in New York City there was that poster, Welcome to Hell. And of course then we were covered by this smog that was the color of scarlet. The color of scarlet. That's what they were calling it. It literally just overtook everything. It was pervasive. It was a darkness that could be felt. And we know on the show, I talked about how there was darkness that was coming. And if you remember in the plagues, there were a bunch of plagues in Egypt, and one of them had to do with dust. A lot of particles of smoke in that dust cloud that has taken over all of New York, but thankfully is now kind of gone. I think it was here for maybe about 3 days or so. 3 days, 3 nights, who knows? But I'll tell you another thing that's very strange is that at the exact same time, you know what we got? We got the devil bird. A devil bird. Experts are sounding the alarm. The devil bird's not supposed to be in New York City. What's it doing in New York? Or the outer boroughs? What's it doing in NYC? The devil bird. It wasn't enough that the New York looked like a hellscape. My buddy Boca sent me a picture of that on the early hours. I thought it was pretty funny because, yeah, it looks just like the actual New York background. A lot of people drawing a lot of comparison to that. If you think about it, that has to do with AI. We're now in talks about AI. All these things so incredibly interesting. You know what was really interesting? Do you remember? Remember seeing a video a while ago, a little dirt devil, little dust devil kicking up, guy, father saving his son from, I don't know, like it was a ref saving the batter. Okay, well, there was something in New York that caused a big stir, and it wasn't just the devil bird. So we see a lot of this devil stuff going down. You know what I mean? We get a lot of this devil noise going. Isn't that right, Ellen? Pampanicos, thank you for watching, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Got a lot of devil stuff going on, a lot of dirty birds, a lot of devil birds. Got a lot of dust devils. This is where the show is going to get very spooky. This is actually a really cool show for a Friday night. You know, like I like Friday nights. I like watching shows that are interesting. So one of the reasons why I love doing this is because I like to look at the world and the events, and then I see these, you know, these prophetic references that are unfolding in front of us. And as you can see, my I got my wrist thing on because I'm hurting again. I was doing good. I was back at the gym. Everything was great. But Daisy, my dog Dazers, had to have her ear was the flap of her ear was all swollen. Bulldogs get this. She's should be in the vet said the Guinness Book because she's so old, right? She also said that, you know, you need to get the old, you have to get a rabies vaccine. And I said, that's kind of silly because the dog, you know, we don't do that. We haven't done that. You know, we had an experience years ago, you know. And, well, you know, if you want it to be seen. So I decided to use the Jedi mind trick, you know, right? I told Danielle, she's like, how are we going to get away with this? I said, don't worry. I'm going to have them get the hard stuff out of the way. It's going to be so stressful because Daisy's such a big love, and it's just going to be a stressful thing that we're going to get out of there quick. It's not going to happen. Long story short, her ears were cleaned out. The infection's probably going to be gone. Didn't have to get that vaccine. I see that as also being very significant, spiritually speaking. My dog getting his ears cleaned out. It's almost like my carnal nature. It's like maybe you can hear me now, Jacob, if you think about this. I look at things like that. When a devil bird shows up in New York City, and a week earlier they were talking about, devil dust devils that were going toward the carriages of horses, I start thinking about Revelation 18. I think about fallen Babylon, Babylon the Great. Babylon, which is fallen indeed. This is something that we've been looking forward to. This is what's happening now. You see, there's a clear, the other side is getting very strong. You know, they're getting their MAGA powers. And the Crusaders, they're going to, this system is going to come against the other system. The harlot system. Wait till you see the rest of this show. What I have, I'm going to play it all out for you and lay it all out on the table. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. But why don't we just say that before we get into Revelation 17? Of course, we know that number is a big one, you know, for the Trumpster. 17. He's got 17s all the time. 17's a big thing. 17th letter of the alphabet, some people say. 17 is also a great chapter in Revelation. Has to do with the beast turning on the harlot system. So it would kind of be symbolic of today. Like literally today. All right, so let me just read this to you, okay? In Revelation 18, lament over fallen Babylon. After I saw this, another angel, the archangel, just one today, Archangelo. After I saw this, another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. Like every time I turn my face, the light picks it up and it gets bright. That's the angel speaks that loud, and he is illuminating everyone. And he shouts with a mighty voice, and he says, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great." Why has she become fallen, you may ask? Well, she's become a dwelling for demons. Look at the top right-hand corner of that picture there. That's where the devil is. Welcome to it. She's become a haunt of every unclean bird. The devil bird's never been there before. Now it's there. For every unclean and every detestable animal, for all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The kings of the earth have committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grow rich from her excessive luxuries. They will cut you off. You won't be able to talk because that money's flowing. That money's flowing, and God forbid anybody says anything different. God forbid that happens. Maybe a problem. Maybe a problem. Well, maybe not much longer, because this is the day we're in. The day that we're in is where you see this really perverse system. The world's become very corrupt and very perverse and very in your face. You're going to get in trouble now if you don't, do certain things. If your 5-year-old tells you, Dad, I know that I can fly. I want to fly now. If you don't let them jump off the roof, you could get in trouble now. I think that that's the rule. I heard something like that. I don't know. You got to tell me in the live chat if that's the case. I may be being a little bit of an exaggerator, but it certainly is a dwelling place of a lot of unclean thinking. A lot of horrible things are happening. A lot of possession going on. And what I want to explain what possession is, so you just know what that is. Okay, so listen up. You ever get possessed by a thought, right? You left your phone behind, and then you get possessed by the thought that, oh my goodness, your whole life's on there, your life is over, you'll never find your phone, right? How about that with you don't pray? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you forgot to pray today and that's the urgency you had? Oh no, what am I going to do? That's being possessed by something, being possessed by a thought. You can get trapped into a lot of lying thoughts, lying spirits. They call them lying spirits. Demons or devils. Devils, the father of all lies, would be lies. The world has become very unclean, and it's become filled with nothing but lies. And everywhere you look, it's spelling it out. I mean, it's spelling it out in such a way. It's just, and it's tricky. It's tricky too. Okay, because you know that number that everybody's kook-a-doo about, right? The 666, right? Because that's the number of his name. It's the number of, some translations say a man, some translations just say man. A lot of people think it's just one literal thing. I've told everybody it's a literal system. It's just imagine just the carnality of man. It's the system, right? It's the system that wants to rule everybody with their minds. They want to rule your minds. They want to rule your social life. They want to rule your spiritual life. They want you to basically worship them. They have to be in charge. And see now, so here becomes a problem if they have a direction of how they want that to look and how they want that to go, because we can't always have, we can't have a generation. If there's a world government, we can't have a generation of children that are going to be disrespectful. A little generation that are people that are going to just, this is all being done, for whatever reason, and it's going to be crushed. I've said this, it's going to be crushed. It's going to be, I've said this for years. I said, don't get hung up into it. Don't hate people, love people, because this is all just a setup. It's a setup. The book of Revelation is literally playing out. Maybe there's a time traveler who wrote it. Somebody who's, maybe John was a time traveler. Maybe he was him and Donald Trump. Maybe they hooked up. Maybe Trump went back to, I always liked you, John, right? Because of his uncle and Tesla connections and everything else. And maybe they just wrote this book so that when it happens, we'd know. Or, I don't know, maybe collectively we're bringing this to pass because we put a lot of faith that this is going to happen. But I'm telling you, it's happening. It's happening in such a way, and it's spooky when your heroes are doing things that I consider to be totally sus. I really do. Mud Dog, that's right. Thank you. I'm not, what you wrote was great about how many people is, let's get to 200,000. I don't want to do that every time I bring up getting to 200,000. It's back to square one from like months ago. So, but I thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you very much. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, will you give me a shot? Give me a chance. Hit the old subscribe. Get acquainted with the work that I do here. It's free. It's awesome. I believe it could change your life. I really do. So Tucker, speaking of people whose lives seem to be changed and changing, evolving with the times, if you will. Well, when he left Fox, you tell that fox. Today I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Jesus said that. You tell that fox. Herod called him a fox, right? Tucker left Fox. Don't let the little foxes spoil the vine. These names, they're there for a reason because they're it's very obvious. If you're a moviegoer and you don't get the symbolism of these things, when you hear the word fox, you think Sly. Okay, so Tucker, which means to tire somebody out. Carlson, which we've explained. All of these things, interesting. He leaves on a day that is very profound. We talked about it. The same day Don Lemon leaves. And I go, there's something to this. And then I put a little tweet out. You know what my tweet was? I said, he's going to be the face of Twitter. I said, at Elon, hoping that Elon would recognize me and maybe retweet me or whatever, so that maybe more attention comes to the YouTube channel, more attention comes to the novel and everything else. And then, of course, why would he do that? If I'm God's champion, right? Why would he do that? Why? I don't know. We're going to have to leave it in God's hands. But the point is that I said he'd be the face of Ticker. Ticker. Twitter. Tucker is the face of Twitter. Ticker. They should just call it Ticker, like TikTok, which is very interesting because I'm going to talk about TikTok in a little while. All right, so look, today or yesterday, whenever it was, I think it was the day before yesterday, I thought to myself, he aired his show at 6 p.m. and it was on June 6th, and I thought that's strange. I thought it was strange, of course, because of everything that was going on with the smog and the smoke and the Scarlet this and the Scarlet that. Scarlet, by the way, the color of the horror system. And by that, I mean from the Bible, so I'm not saying naughty words. It's in there. This woman, this strange woman that is clothed in scarlet, all right, riding a scarlet covered beast. They both kind of look alike. They're both royal in appearance, but at one point, Beast's like, I'm not going to let you ride me no more. I'm not going to let this go on anymore. Turns on that because you know what? That she got a little too drunk on the blood of the saints. She was cutting God out of the equation completely, and it's like, no, we can't have you cut out God completely. First person that Archangelo's the jockey said was, he said, I first have to thank Jesus Christ. It's the Archangel for you. They got to guide you spiritually too. Can't have you not thinking that there's no God, right? That you can just do whatever you want willy-nilly. At some point, this is going to change. Said this. So, you probably find it strange that it's a little sus that he did his show at 6 p.m. on June 6th. So you see like the 6, you see the 6, you see the 6, then 2 times 3 is 6. You get a lot of 6s. But it's even weirder that he did it exactly 6 weeks from when he was fired on April 25th. Yeah, so when Fox News fires him and April 25th is the news, even though there were rumors going around on April 24th, which by the way, we saw it coming. Everybody thinks that everybody thinks that this is some great thing. No, it's just the change of the guard. It's the end of the empire. Remember when Jack from the old Jack from Twitter, Dorsey, is that his name? He put out the end of the empire, and Elon Musk put out the tool, the double fire, the dual fires, like the 1-1s. By the way, my birthday's tomorrow. And then speaking of the 1-1s, look at Levi. Thank you very much with 11/11. My dog and sister's dog gave birth to 7 puppies on Shavuot, and they just started opening their eyes. Wow. Mom is June. I'm pronouncing it wrong. The Queen of Heaven. Dad is Odin, the All-Father. That is some serious spiritual stuff going on, man. Very cool. Do you find this strange with Tucker? Do you find it a little suspect? I mean, he could have chose any time. He didn't have to do. He could have did 7 p.m. On the 7th. He could have done it any time. How does it add up to 6 weeks? Well, because the dark days are here, my friends. the dark days. You know, I've been talking about the dark days that were coming. I've said that they were coming. If you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see, and that says streamed 4 days ago. That's an old picture. I think that was like now over a week ago. And the other one's about 2 weeks. This was long before. The first video was long before, and then the second video was literally 3 nights and 3 days before the darkness of June the 6th. So that's quite interesting. And we've done a show about that, and there's a lot of symbolism to it. Go back and check out my last live if you want. I go into it a little bit, but I found it interesting that everybody was tweeting out what a dark day it was. This is from Fox News, the Fox. Dark day in America. Dark day. 3 days, 3 nights. 3 days of darkness is next. See what I mean? Dark days. And then the dark days are here and they're saying dark days. I mean, do you think maybe that there could be something to the Holy Spirit? You think maybe it's possible those that just want to do the will of God and do the right thing, say the right thing, maybe? You know, I'm not going to be bragging. You know, I put a bet on a horse. I got it wrong. I did Forte because I knew it was the strength of the Archangel. And I got the Archangel and Forte in mixed up. Should have been the Archangel's strength, because it really is the strength. And what an Archangel is, by the way, if you want to know, besides like Michael, and you've probably heard of all of them. You know, Michael does the battle. Michael means who is like God. I have a necklace that is St. Michael on it, fighting the dragon, if you will, or the devil, or Lucifer, or Satan, whoever you want to call him, whatever you want to call him. And, you know, it's an interesting thing that he won today. I mean, it gives me a lot of hope. It does give me a lot of hope. And especially since all we see is dark day, dark day, dark day. And we think, well, maybe we need something to break for us here. Maybe we need a little something good, you know? I mean, it's like maybe we need to hear something that's going to encourage us, as opposed to just continue to drive us down further into fear and panic. Sorry, can't help you there, because they got monsters on the loose and they got people eating things in the middle of the night. Scantily clad women that are witches. I don't know if they were women or not. It says witches. They were munching on deers. That's the news. And also there was this is from today, the Sun, another animal from a mysterious mythical demon spotted after the fields of lost livestock were found dead and drained of their... That's not halal. I'll tell you what, that's not halal. If you saw my last show, you'll know why that's funny. It's not halal. Monsters can't be, sucking the blood of animals. It's not halal. So God says you cannot, anytime you do something like that, you're in trouble. Do you find it strange that right now there seems to be an excess of really spooky, like horrific things that you never thought you'd see? Like you'd never see somebody... Am I correct thinking that you'd never thought that you would maybe go on social media and see a man running around with a weapon, and then to a baby? Probably would never think that, right? There was a debate. I know you know what I'm talking about. There was a debate over, where I said, well, we shouldn't put that out there because then people see it. And when you put it into the eyes, it goes into the heart and goes into the soul. Who would have thought to run around a park just... fear, torment, evils, possession. Saw another video today. Young girl doesn't remember taking the life of her 9-year-old brother. And you should hear, it's heartbreaking. I shared it, like I reshared it, or retweeted it. By the way, I'm on Twitter at Jacob71, Jacob Israel 71 on Twitter. Follow me there, at Jacob me. Let me know, I'll follow you back. This is a dark time when you have stuff like that. And it's almost like a lot of people are saying, it just seems like everybody's a little more angry, a little more irritated. I get a lot of emails from people, and I get a lot of DMs, and I get a lot of people sending me stuff. And I say, well, hey, there's a darkness to it. There's a darkness. They said it was coming. Black hole. I just shared this on Twitter. I'll show you in a second. 100 black holes all spitting black holes, the abyss, opened up, spitting their particles and their radiations all focused on Earth. What? Sounds like Bird Box 2, which, by the way, is coming in July. Isn't that great news? Bird Box 2, great movie, man. And I got to tell you, you could say it's a documentary because in a grand scheme of things, people could be possessed like that. What are you possessed with? A lie. If you see something, and then you get a little whisper in your ear, something says to you, you should do this, you should do that. You think it's you. It's not you. It's a liar. Who knows? It could be AI. I'm working on a novel. I told people I'm working on a novel. It's going to be a follow-up to The Calling and basing a lot of it on the day that we're in right now, using a lot of the elements to kind of tell a story. And it's spooky to think that what if AI took over, created some kind of thing that gets inside of all of us, and then all of a sudden they're running us, and we become the programs, we become the robots, we become the... I think to myself, is that why people are spinning around doing all this weird stuff in my imaginative mind as I'm writing a novel? Because, of course, none of that can be explained. Who knows? It does seem a lot like Bird Box 2 is more of like maybe a documentary. I say that as a joke. I don't mean it. But I do know that the woman that is on display in New York, her name is Lilith in this video game. I don't know if you know anything about Lilith. There's a story about Lilith. She was like the first wife of Adam, and she wasn't obedient enough. She was like, I'm not listening to you. Right? She could have called it a Dan. I'm just kidding. But I would have stayed with her because I'd be like, you know what? You're going to make me better. You're going to make me stronger. Of course, we really don't know. There's some Gnostic texts that tell this story, but I'm not going to get into that. Lilith from Babylonian from Babylon is a goddess. Now we're talking about Babylon the Great fallen, Babylon fallen. Isn't that right? Christina Thorne with the cool super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that $1. Whoop, whoop. I think that's the first time I've ever made the whoop, whoop sound. I don't know. I get excited to hang out with you, and it's the weekend, so, be thrilled to be here. I'm just glad that hell is not in New York anymore and the smoke is gone. So you can see a little bit better. Today I could have even, if I didn't have all this work to do to get this show together for all of you, I could have been outside and enjoying this beautiful weather of mine. But I was in here sucked into all the darkness of Diablo. And the fact that my buddy Andrew on Twitter and has a great 4VKM, just a cool channel. He always does such great stuff. I even made him like a thumbnail. Like I was like, hey, I want to do this for you. I like to encourage people. And he responded to Scarlet Bordeaux, I guess is her name. And what do you think of my red dust that was made from? What do you think it was made from? And he said like the dust particles from New York, which I thought was great. But of course, what am I thinking of? What is that woman dressed in? What's that woman dressed in? Why is she blowing that color dust into the air? Same color that's in the air. Same thing that they're calling it, the Scarlet. Lilith. The Babylonian goddess Lilith, who is, she kind of like, it's like the guardian of hell. In the book of Revelation, it's called Apollyon. Be like if black holes were opening up and just a bunch of evil stuff was coming out like a furnace, like smoke, like a furnace. That's the way they describe it. It's mythical. It's mythical. You know what is another myth? By the way, hey, let me read that to you, by the way, in Revelation 9. When we open the abyss, thank you, SPAK USA, John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Thank you. And Allison Bittney, thank you so much for the super chat. I got to tell you, I am so grateful to all of you that support, and I am going to be doing something interesting on Patreon. I'm doing it, getting it together. I think we're going to get a phone number or something so you can call them. We're going to have a cool show. Once this 200 thing happens, help me. or don't, and just stay Just stay where you are. Just don't feel bad if I'm asking. It would just be fun. It would be fun to get that next milestone. So the abyss, when it's opened up, smoke rose out of it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. And the sun and the sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss, which would be hell, which would be welcome to hell in New York. Smoke like a giant furnace in the belly of hell, which is the belly in New York City. And out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of the scorpions of the earth. Scorpions, they have their sting in their tail. In Scripture, a scorpion is a liar. Just think about this. The locusts, they devour a harvest. They're trying to steal, they devour the wheat. That's what locusts do. So the evil comes out, and they look like men, right? And they have teeth like lions. They can talk, these people. They're straight from the pit, coming after all your wheat. You better be like Gideon, threshing that wheat in the background. Hey, did you know that there are myths, storm myths, about demons in dust storms, just like the one that we just had? It doesn't have to be a dust storm. It could be a smoke storm, could be any kind of storm. In Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Jordan, dust-laden storms are called Djinn. They're called the devil. Come on. That's a little weird, right? It's a little strange, don't you think? A little spooky. Also spooky in Egypt, it's called Ghost's Wind. In Ireland, not Ireland. In Ireland, it would be called, oh, that's terrible weather. Me can't breathe. That's what it would be called in Ireland. In Kenya, they call it the woman's demon. The devil. Almost like Lilith. Almost like this scarlet dressed woman who is going to face a great judgment in just a short period of time. I believe. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I do know that this famous myth from Moulton, it's a famous one, is that jinns, demons, travel through these dust storms. This myth was very popular. Has to do with, get this, when they come through, excessive violence, mayhem. Like the dogs of war were released. What? Mayhem. Interesting. Gets more interesting. Why? Well, we're going to get there. But let's first talk about the fact that aliens are a thing too. But what if they're not aliens? What if they're not aliens? What if they're like interdimensional beings? What if they're demons? And they've been released from these 100 black holes that are shooting all this energy our way. And the sun is acting kookadoo. I don't know if you know anything about the Schumann resonance, but it's been like kooky. I've been kooky lately. It's been a weird time. I've been telling everybody to keep their heads, But Salon Magazine, we are not alone. The whistleblower says that we have non-human craft. Okay, we get it. And then, of course, now they're 100% not human, according to the Los Angeles Times, as the police investigate these reports. 100% not human? Well, who knows? Where's the craft, right? Well, don't worry, they got that covered too. Because there are tracks right there, smack dab in their backyard. They seemed a little calm to me. I will say they seemed a little calm to me for a family that witnessed 8-foot-tall aliens in their backyard as they were just calling the police. They're aliens. They're 8 feet tall. They got big black eyes. They're like monsters. Monsters being sighted here. Monsters being sighted there. People saying that they're doing things they don't remember doing. Interesting. What do you think? You got to tell me in the comments section. But I'll tell you this. if it is some kind of evil, nonsense, terrible thing, well, don't worry. I'll do a short on it, and I'll show you about it. I just did this short over here. Let me show you. I'll bring it up to speed. You can get a little idea, just so if you didn't watch any of the... let me lower this music for you. Okay, so let me play this for you. Let me change the screen over. Good. I want to make sure that it is. Okay, so this is Alien in Vegas, Hell in New York City, predicted by Diablo. What is behind all that smoke? You see, I was laying the groundwork for today's show. All right, let's just listen up, huh? If worrying about the apocalyptic fires that's making the video game Diablo fly off the shelves because they've taken advertising to a whole new level, predicting hell would be coming to New York City, that's probably just the beginning of your concerns, because guess what? In Vegas, a whole family, they saw like gigantic aliens. Nephilim! That's right, the fallen ones. And the police, they were called, and it was a spooky call.
I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually weird.
So there's
terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Right, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot. 9 feet, 10 foot, I don't know. They look like aliens to us.
The weird part about this whole thing was the police earlier, they saw a meteor or something fly from the sky. They were concerned.
It was like a big creature. A big creature?
It's 2023. Buckle up! If we're... All right. How was that? Listen, tell me right now, if you can. I'm really trying to do better. Trying to do better with the shorts. I'm trying to make things more interesting. It's just me here. Isn't that right, Guy 265? Thank you for the super chat. The truth is finally being exposed. Blessing to you and yours. Blessing to you, too. Thank you. God bless you. God bless all of you for being here. We got so many people. So many of you hit the like button. It means a lot. I appreciate it. I just feel like we should really pay a little more attention to what's happening right now and really focus our thoughts. We can't let we can't follow after hateful thoughts. Once they take hold, it's going to be a lot harder to turn back. Should have saw this devastating video of this young girl. I don't remember doing it. I can't believe, and called it's some demonic stuff. Like, really, I felt so terrible for this family. So terrible. Well, Elon tweeted out, cry havoc, and let slip the Doge of war. If you look on the top right-hand corner, where it says, you see it says smoke forecast. By the way, the background of that is, that's the color purple, Scarlet, if you will. Interesting, right? Because that was the map of this whole area. Very interesting. So he writes out, cry havoc and let slip the Doges of war. And Greg, beneath him, he put out Doges of war. And I thought to myself, my goodness gracious, if that does not look like the smoke that just rolled in. Interesting. And you want to know what else is interesting? Is the fact that cry havoc is actually from William Shakespeare. You know, I love Shakespeare. I love it. And the quote had to do with Julius Caesar, being, destroyed. He was in charge, and then everybody ganged up on him, just took his life. Got to be careful how you talk here, so just bear with me. Mark Antony, who, was his buddy, wasn't too thrilled about all that. Wasn't too thrilled about what happened. And so cried out, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. This is, it's become an idiom to expose violence and disorder. Violence and disorder and mayhem. Something to this. Something to the timing of it all. Something to the 666s everywhere. This system is going to get crushed. And I think it's going to get crushed on a lot of our backs. But don't worry, because God, he marked off those. It's going to be something. It already is something, as we see in the war room of the Trumpster. He's an innocent man. The other administration is incredibly corrupt, he says. It's interference. And it's the greatest witch hunt of all time. Witches. Eating deer in the woods behind some spa instructor, I think. Her house. So strange. Could you imagine setting up your camera like with your little one? And you're like, oh, we're going to see, nature. It's going to be great. We're going to get a bird's eye view. Then little Johnny or, little Sarah comes home and, come on, let's check out the camera. The camera on the trail. And you see the witches. The greatest witch hunt. Interesting. So there's a picture below of how they were stored or whatever. And of course, I'm not going to get into the ins and the outs. You've heard it a million times. You know where you stand. I stand exactly where I said I would be, which was he was going to be back in power, and the people that are in charge, we're going to find out that it's all big. They're all terribly corrupt. If they be corrupt was a hashtag I put out there. I put all this stuff out there with the hope that it would happen because I want to see the things of God come to the world. So I start to think to myself, it's going to be what it's going to be, God's placed the people that he's placed there for a reason. They're there for a reason. We got Scarlet everywhere there for a reason. Revelation 17 is in the house, people. It's literally happening. Literally happening, as you're going to see. And of course, he's indicted on 7 counts. The number 7 compared to him, when he was sworn into office. I have videos on this. 70 years, 7 months, 7 days, all these things, all these incredible connections. Born on a blood moon. All of these things are, but very, very, very interesting, but not as interesting as the fact that I was just talking about Grimace. And what color is Grimace? Can you tell me in the live chat? This is what makes my show interesting. I know a lot of other people aren't connecting Grimace to prophecy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll tell you one thing. It is what it is. I said a shakeup was coming, and I meant, that Grimace likes to steal milkshakes, but also the timing of things that are going on right now. He's releasing that new purple milkshake, and of course, purple was what we were breathing in here in Long Island and New York and other places. But did you know that Donald Trump was in a Grimace commercial? He loves McDonald's. He gets a starring role in a McDonald's commercial. Guess what it's about? Taking over. Taking over. Puts his arm around Grimace. Taking over. And Grimace's birthday's coming up. It's interesting. Let's take a look at this, okay? Let's take a quick little look. And I'm going to play this for you. Hopefully you can hear it. Hopefully I am switched over, which I am. And let's give it a listen.
I really don't.
I'm going to stop it a little bit just because I don't want to get hit with any kind of a whatever.
Some really
but he's talking to Grimace.
But this thing you've pulled.
How'd you do it, Grimace? How'd you do it for $1?
Oh, it's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1.
And, and then it goes over to Grimace. You got to be careful. Who blinks his eyes? He's like, you don't talk too much. That's what Trump says. He goes, you don't talk too much. I like that.
You're a man of few words.
I like that. That's good stuff. So for $1, and Trump and Grimace conquer New York, and it's Grimace's birthday, and here's what the president has to say.
Every day. Together, Grimace, we could own this town.
How interesting is that, right? That's a little interesting. You know what else is weird? Oh, I did okay, here's a treat. I did a short on the way here to doing the show while I was watching the stakes. I noticed that Google's doodle was a scone. Let me just play this for you. If you ever get a chance, check out my shorts too. I'm trying to just be a little funnier and do different things. I don't know. I like making myself laugh.
Well, what's this? It looks so strange. Let me hit that and see. Oh, it's a scone. Interesting. Google's Doodles is all about the scone. The stone of scone. The stone of scone. The stone of scone.
I thought it was funny. So I thought it was funny. Oh, and there's the black holes. The 100 black holes, jets aimed at the Earth, unleash controversial physics theory. There's the show. Hopefully, if you can hit like retweet, like I just did right there. If I just retweet, that's the way you do that. And dark plasma from the sun. Let's see. Oh, that's where I wrote the strength of Archangel is a miracle. How about them apples, huh? And this is another thing. We're talking about energy. Let me just pull this up. That's today. I don't know how to read this, but the red is like off the hook. And it's been like that a lot lately. And that has to do, I believe, if I'm correct, with like kind of the heartbeat of the Earth and everything else. So he got kind of torn down by the Late Show.
Volume.
And now here's what's weird is he kind of talks about how he's, a bad guy, getting arrested and all this stuff. And I just found the timing of it. It was from 4 years ago.
How do you do it? What's your secret?
Volume. Now I have a few questions for you. Are you a Russian agent? What?
I mean, it just seems weird with everything that's going on. Grimace's birthday, and then here...
Did you conceal the notes of your private meeting with Putin? Are you selling out the country for...
Grimace puts Trump on the hot seat. Huh. All of that stuff, to me, I say there's something to this. I mean, it could be reaching. I could be reaching. You got to tell me in the live chat if you think that I'm reaching on this, but there's too much stuff going on. Too much stuff going on. Now, look, the word Scarlet alone... Elden Ring, Scarlet Rot. I don't play Elden Ring. I know it's a very popular game, but this is out. While you're running in circles, your enemy is slowly being killed by the Scarlet Rot. Interesting. Also, Pokemon, if you watch Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet are announced. Distribution. And then, of course, there was a review of Scarlet. A father and daughter endure. Weather Channel, their headline, New York City skyline from gray to scarlet in 3 hours. 3. Damar Hamlin, remember Hard Hands? 3. Remember him and Biden with the picture? 33. 3 everywhere you go. Guess who won today's race? Number 3. Interesting how it all comes together. And you know what other witch is coming back to the little screen or big screen? I don't know how they call it. Scarlet Witch. Number 6. Very interesting. First look pits Wanda against her son, Wiccan. All of this stuff, no coincidence, right? We don't see scarlet or purple, because they're the same thing, by the way. Scarlet or purple in Scripture is interchangeable. They gave Jesus a scarlet robe. They gave Jesus a purple robe. Interchangeable. Bottom corner of the screen, there's a picture of, what's your name? The bad one in Little Mermaid, Ursula. Purple. Take a look at the inauguration. The beginning of this, Jacob's time of trouble. It's 3.5 years that I talked about. The parade of purple. That's Taylor Swift in her concert up there. She does a whole witch thing. She does like a little thing. And once again, I know they're witches. They're watch. I don't care. The grand scheme of things in Scripture, you know what a witch is? Literal witches. Now I'm talking about ones that go out and munch deer meat. You're being silly. You're being stupid. You're being dumb. You're being dumb. You want to know? You want to see strength and truth and power? Just you be normal. You don't gotta eat animals in the raw, in the nude, in the middle of the night, in darkness. I'm sure there are a lot of hunters in the comment section. If you are, I'm not. Maybe get them some venison. You can maybe, throw it on the grill or something. It seems like the parade of purple is there for a reason. And why? Well, that would be the day that we're in. The day that we're in, which is Revelation 17. This is like the end chapter. It's like the end chapter. This is the end times, people. And what a cool time it is to be alive. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blow this up a little bit. But before I do that, I want to show you one thing. Somebody sent me this. I see rainbows. And that's from the Denver airport. The airport that has all the weird stuff. The reptiles and this and that. And then there's a picture to the right of that of the children that were taught to stomp on these flags, which is a form of protest, I understand. But it is also a form of, because that's people's identity, right? So it's a form of hate. That's a problem. But that's what the beast system wants, is it's going to get people to hate in such a way. As I said, that stuff, if you have a problem with it, you don't get a need to stop on a flag. It's going away. It's going to go away. Sadly, people are too up in arms about this. When you see rainbows all the time, this is, some people say it's a picture of the end. Some say it's a picture of the end. Be the last covenant that God makes with man. So, let me blow this up so I can read it with my older eyes, as I'm going to be 52. By the way, the stone of scone, that little joke I had about the doodle, I think it's interesting because tomorrow is Corpus Christi, which is like a big Catholic celebration of the Eucharist, which would be interesting. Because the story goes, the beast turns on the whore of Babylon, that system. So it's kind of like, they're intertwined. The woman was riding the beast, and that's the many nations of the world. So it's a control system. So when the power system that the other power system rides on turns on it, that's a problem. But then it turns directly onto people serving God. Corpus Christi is symbolic of the Last Supper, the Eucharist. So, don't get too stressed about that. I don't think anybody's going to be getting. I don't know what's going to go down. I think everything's going to be all right. I don't know. I'm looking right now, and there's 1,666 people watching. So I'm a little. Maybe I'm a little concerned. See, that's 666 everywhere. Everywhere. All right. Let me read this and let's get out of here, because this is where everything kind of comes together and it ebbs and flows in such a beautiful way that you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came to me. He's one of the 7. Sevens. Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits on many waters. With her, the kings of the earth have committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries. This is a picture of when you're committing adultery. It's not about like, oh, look at all these people that cheated on their spouse. It's about cheating on God. It's about leaving God and following after the sensual world of, narcissism, greed, and lust, and pride, and hate. All the things that don't benefit the world, all the things that take. So that would be the adultery. You know, God doesn't want to have it. He wants to have a relationship with us. So basically, the angel is talking to John here and saying, this is what's going to happen in the end. So the angel then carried me away in the spirit, into the wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast. See, the beast looks the same. Covered with blasphemous names and 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was Mystery. It was a mystery. The name written on her forehead was a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes, and the abominations of the earth. It's a mystery. Who's in the background? It's a Babylonian goddess known as Lilith, bringing hell with it. I saw the woman was drunk with the blood of God's people. How many times have you watched people in positions of power laugh at the fact that, oh, well, just learn to code then, you know? You don't have to worry about your job. Just learn to do this, or just move to a better area, or just buy yourself an electric car. Oh, just, cut down on having dessert. Start moving people into your homes. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. Then the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I'll explain to you the mystery of the woman and the beast she rides, which has 7 heads, 10 horns." Some say that could be the world system as it is. Like the G7, if you will. The beast which you saw was once, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go into a destruction. The inhabitants of the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world will be astonished. They will see the beast because it once was in charge, now is not in charge, and yet will be in charge. I don't know if that helps you any. But you know what this calls to mind? Wisdom. Because the 7 heads are the 7 hills on which the world sits, the woman sits. There's 7 kings. 5 have fallen. 1 is. The other is not yet. But when he does, he will remain for a little while. A little while, meaning that he will not finish his term. We would just be biding our time. The beast who once was and now is not is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are the 10 kings. They've yet to receive a kingdom. But who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast? They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb. And they have, by the way. But the Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And with him will be his called. His called. There's a plug for the book to call in. That's what popped out. The called, those that are called. Going to be victorious. So I asked the question earlier. I was like, do we got to worry? Should we be scared? Book says we win. Book says we win. The waters you saw where the prostitute sits, peoples, their multitudes, their nations, their languages. The beast, the 10 horns you saw, will hate the prostitute. The beast with the 10 horns, the 10 people that are about to get power because they're supportive of the beast that was, is not now, but yet is to come. I mean, sounds like today. Am I correct? This is Revelation 17 after all. Just sounds to me like maybe we're in that time. But you're going to have to tell me in the comments section, and my throat is killing me. Hopefully I don't have strep throat. I don't know why it just started hurting so much, because I talk a lot. I work a lot. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Subscribe. If you want to get any of the merch, links in the description of the video below. Hope this show lifted your spirits, got you a little excited. Because this is happening. The end of the book of Revelation, it's happening. It's happening now. So tell your friends, share the channel around. Get involved with me on Patreon if you want. And thank you if you're on PayPal too. We will be doing something once we hit that big mark. It's going to be